Shalom. I'd like to start off by giving all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash. I'd like to give double honors unto the apostles and elders and CT bishops of Great Millstone who rule well, taught me this truth. Peace and salutations to the Akim preaching this word of truth and sincerity around the four corners. Like Elder Malcolm says, risking their lives and freedom to do so, now more so than ever. I like to give shalom to y'all. I like to give peace and salutations to the Israelite foreigners, the Israelites that live amongst the heathen that look like some of those heathen. You gotta remember, this is not a black only thing like Elder Malcolm teaches us. This is an Israelite thing. So you're gonna have Israelites coming back into the fold looking like the nations that they were scattered to. So shalom to the scattered sheep, the speckled bird. And peace and salutations to the Akim and the few Akwath that listen and learn in silence. Shalom to the true believers, the true worshipers of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, those are the hopeful elect. Just coming back in the spirit and theme of prophecy, and I wanted to speak real briefly on this. It slipped my mind, but the spirit reminded me about the bill C-9 that got passed, I believe, a week or two ago. Dealing with hate speech. So I was just gonna touch on it for like 10 minutes. Make a quick video. And I'll just read from the overview. I put in Google Bill C-9 passed in Canada, and I put and it says yes, Bill C-9, also known as the Combating Hate Act, has passed in Canada and officially became law. It received royal assent on June 18th, 2026, which is about 2.5 weeks ago. It says, I'm going to get a couple scriptures after I read this, and just, this links in with the famine of the word, So let me get it. There we go. It says, the new law introduces major changes to the Department of Justice Canada Criminal Code to address rising hate incidents across the country. It says, key details of the new legislation: protects community spaces. It makes it a crime to intimidate or physically block people from accessing protected places such as places of worship, schools, daycares, seniors' residences, and community centers. Ban symbols. It prohibits willfully promoting hatred by publicly displaying specific terrorism or hate symbols. This includes symbols used by listed terrorist entities, 2 Nazi symbols, and the noose. Here's the point that I wanted to get. Defines hatred. The bill formally codifies a clear definition of hatred into the criminal code. And basically, the Hebrew Israelites that preach the scriptures, they define that as hate speech, as hatred, because it says in the scriptures that the Heavenly Father hates Esau, and Esau has been found out to be the so-called white man, So they're definitely going to come down with heavy wrath on that. It says, removes religious exemption. It repeals the long-standing legal safeguard, Section 319(3), that previously allowed a good faith religious belief defense against charges of promoting hatred. Penalties. New intimidation and obstruction offenses are punishable by up to 10 years in prison. So there goes that Revelation 2 and 10, The devil shall cast some of you into prison. It says the new rule goes into effect on July 18th, 2026 for the complete text of the new law, you can view the Parliament of Canada third reading. And the 18th, that's 2 weeks away. That's two Saturdays from now. The second not this Saturday coming up, but the Saturday coming up after next. We just, just yesterday we had July 4th, the lie of the 4th, the 4th of the lie, rather. And, it commemorated Babylon, aka America's 250th birthday. And to be perfectly honest, America's going down. There were fireworks, but not as many as you would see in previous years, which means people don't even have enough money to celebrate. So that's beautiful, because this place is wicked and demonic, and it needs to be taken out of here. So I'm gonna just get a couple scriptures. Salakia about the NLT not popping up. I don't know why, but it didn't pop up. Maybe it'll pop up now. Usually when it has that loading sign, it doesn't pop up. But I'll just read from the KJV. This is Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1 and 2. And it says, "Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and write grievousness which they have prescribed." And this is an unrighteous decree. Because really his main point is to Really his main point is to get at the Hebrew Israelites, in particular GMS, because we're the ones who can't be compromised. You can't give us a bag to want to talk good things about Esau, because there's nothing good to talk about your enemy, Verse 2, "To turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless." And this is exactly what Esau is doing. This is what Esau always has done. He makes these laws, and then implements them into the earth. It's nothing but mischief. Let me get this in the book of Psalms. Like I said, this wasn't going to be long at all. I'll make this real brief. I just wanted to speak on it real quick. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 94, verse 20. And it reads, "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by a law?" Yeah, and it's exactly what Esau is doing. He's framing his mischief by a law. You see, really, the global elites don't want to hear the truth about how they're going into captivity and how the Heavenly Father doesn't like them. Like, they know this already. They know the scriptures. They don't want the world to find out. They don't want the nation of Israel, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, to wake up to the truth and come against him and come against this devil. Esau doesn't want that, but he doesn't understand that he can't stop prophecy. It was prophesied that he would come down with great wrath, because he knows that he had but a short time, and that's Revelation, the 12th chapter. Not to mention Revelation, the 2nd chapter, which I'm about to get right now. Salakia about the phone loading up. I think it's loading up because I put the camera on. Elder Bro Amawang Gabar said that we need to show our face so the students could know who their teachers look like. Like pertaining to Isaiah, the 30th chapter. And how your teachers won't be removed into a corner anymore, and your eyes shall see your teachers. And I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. So every once in a blue, or every couple videos, I'm gonna put the face camera on. This is Revelation chapter 2, verse 10, and it reads, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Now, and it's written in red letters, so this is Yahushua speaking to his disciples, later turned apostles. And you got to understand that the 10 days, it's just a number of completion. It's like it could be 10 days, it could be less than 10 days, it could be more than 10 days. And it said, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So this is just Esau coming down with draconian legislation, draconian laws, harsher laws, like more harder and harsher punishment for speaking the truth. I forgot who said it, but they said that speaking the truth in the era of lies, or in the time when everybody's lying, is a revolutionary act, and that's what the men of the Lord are doing, specifically GMS, the Hebrew Israelites of GMS. Let me see if I can get one more. Matter of fact, you gotta understand that Esau knows that his time for ruling is coming to an end. Like it tells you in 2nd Ezra, the 6th chapter, how the end of Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And the Lord is speeding up the time. So Esau is basically, he's like the brother in Houston camp, Spiritual Temple 2. That's the GMS Spiritual Temple 2. That's his YouTube channel. The brother Korah Abad, Shalom to him. He said that, and it made perfect sense when he said it. He said that Esau is basically, we're in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. Esau's pulling out all of the trick plays, so Esau gonna come down with that wrath. This is Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 4, verse 28, and it reads, "Strive for the truth until death, and the Lord shall fight for thee." You see? So, strive for the truth until death, which means bring out this word and continue to flood the gates until they take YouTube down, until you get put in, until you get put in a situation where your life is on the line, and still continue to push the word of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. Because this isn't living. We gotta do this until the Lord tells us not to do it anymore. And to be honest, this is how you fight and combat your enemy, through the power of the scriptures. So, Lord's will, use edified. Till next time, I'm gonna say shalom to the elect.